Welcome back to another episode of All the Mod 7. Last time we left off, we were working on this Mekanism fissile fuel production line factory thing. It's here. We've got it done. There's several bottlenecks. There's a lot of problems with it in terms of like speed and stuff, things that I need to fix. It's not really the setup that's a problem. It's the fact that I need so much sulfur dust, so much sulfur dust. And yeah, and the yellow cake uranium is also kind of eating up all the uranium I have because my bees are not producing enough. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm just, gotta get it together. I just want to say we broke 900 subscribers. I'm just really excited. I'm going to be honest with you. We're supposed to be hitting 1,000 subs soon, and it's, we have over 10,000 watch hours already. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. I'm really excited for it. So hopefully everything goes well, and by my birthday on the 17th of this month, October 17th, for those who are watching probably in the future, you're going to be like, what the hell? And if you guys are enjoying these videos, again, make sure to hit that sub and like button, and let's get started. So today I said we were actually going to be setting up the fission reactor, but I realized something. It's probably not a good idea because we really have no way to set the fission reactor up without, the fission reactor, and you'll also have to set up the turbine and stuff. And there's no way for us to set that up without it having a lot of problems because it's going to generate a lot of power and it kind of defeats the purpose. Oh my God, this thing is full. I left this on overnight. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I left this on overnight, so we kind of got lost. I think all of this stuff is full now that I think about it. I don't know how much we need, but we got a whole full thing of it, so that's kind of dope. But yeah, we're going to need a way to deal with the power, and there's not really a way for us to deal with power right now because the only power storage we actually have is in the form of the Mekanism, like baby cubes, which is like 25 million RF or something like that, or FE. It's like nothing. It's a baby fuel source because the reactor and stuff we're going to make is going to make 1.7 million RF per tick. That's a lot of power. And that's just a basic reactor. So we're going to need a place to store all of that. And we're going to kind of need a giant place to store all of that. So what's the best way to do that? And it's by making induction cells. Mekanism actually has multi-part batteries, which are very easy to make. They're actually not hard to make at all. And you basically take these basic induction providers and these basic induction cells. Even the smallest induction cell and induction battery basically holds 3.2 billion or giga FE. I still don't know why they went with the G, but screw it. If that's where we want to be, that's where we want to be. We're going to be making this. And to make this, you actually need something special. So the induction ports and the induction casings are very simple. You just need, induction casings, which are just steel, some energy tablets, and the port just needs an elite control circuit. Problem is, you need these induction cells and you need these induction providers. These take lithium dust, which we don't have lithium. Even though we just set up a bunch of chemicals, we actually don't have lithium. But that's okay because we're going to make lithium. You're like, Alfred, how do you make lithium? Well, we actually need a flowing liquid lithium, or liquid lithium rather, which you get from a thermal evaporation container or controller or thermal evaporation plant is what it's called, with some flowing brine inside, or brine in general. And you're like, oh, we don't even have brine. What is brine? I'm pretty sure, isn't brine like something from a fish? I don't know. If we go and click on this to see how to make it, it looks like we just need another thermal evaporation plant. But this one just needs water. It says honey and chocolate and all that other stuff. You use your mouse wheel to scroll through. These are just different forms of water, essentially. We could go take all the honey from the bees, but no. And it just needs a thermal evaporation plant outside, and it basically heats up, and when it heats up, it creates brine, and then you can pump brine out, but it needs water. This is going to be cool. There's several things that we're going to need, and I've got a couple of these over here. We're also going to need something to heat it up with, which Mekanism has a machine for that, which is called the resistive heater. All it does is it takes some power and says, hey, let's heat this thing up. So the thermal evaporation plant actually works off of heat. The hotter it is, the more it turns water into brine. There's several benefits to this. Because it needs to be hotter, you can put it in a desert and it will heat up even more like naturally. You can use those heaters, which is what we're gonna do to heat it up and to create more brine. But we're gonna do this and we're gonna try and make it pretty big. We're gonna make it pretty big. And because it needs to be outside, we kind of can't use this area over here right now. We're actually gonna use this area for our induction cell. So this is where we're gonna put our battery and stuff. So yeah, I've already made a spot in the mining dimension and I've called it the safe factory. So this is really just honestly a platform made out of stone bricks, some nether bricks, and some lighting and stuff. Nothing too fancy. I don't know why, but I really want to put some like water here because I thought it'd be really cool looking. Look, without shaders, this kind of just looks very bland. Nothing really happens. You know, it's not that crazy, but check this out when I turn shaders on. These are my BSL shaders, and I would use this and record with this if, well, actually, I'm getting a decent frame rate out here, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, there's this water actually comes to life and looks a lot better. I mean, the lights actually come to life and look a lot better. And the only reason I haven't been recording on this is because it actually takes up a lot of my resources whenever I'm recording. That's why I turn it off. But it does look really, really cool. I usually play all the mod 7 with the shaders on, but goodbye good looking shaders. So we're gonna build this out here. I do want to note that I did get that second creative crafter made. I got that all the way through. We added a couple more recipes in both of these. As you can see, you made some of these inferium into produncium into tertium, all that good stuff. We've got all of our storage parts up here. It makes it a whole lot faster. And I also made it to where I can easily make the phytogenic insulators. Whenever I want to add seeds, I can literally call for all the things that it requires and it instantly makes it. And you might be wondering how that happens and how that works because you need like plates and stuff to make some of them. So let me show you that real fast. So if I come down here into my factory, I've made a multi-servo press. What this does is it just presses metals and turns them into plates, right? So if you're making something like, if you ever make like the Adamantium sword, right? We take a look at that. It takes, or the axe, it takes these plates. You can actually come over here and check it out. It's right here in the multi-servo press. So I've added a crafter in the back here for some of the plates that I kind of needed for the recipes. And then I did the same thing with the induction smelter. The induction smelter is just made to make alloys. That's it. So if you want to take a look at an alloy, let's say something like electrum. Electrum can be made in here. Usually you would have to make the dust and then put the dust together and then smelt the electrum dust. We can come over here and look in the induction smelter and see that it does have a recipe to just put gold and silver together, both ingot form, and it will make us some ingots, which is dope. Which is why I have this crafter here for all of my recipes for any kind of alloy. Now you can make all of the bees for these things, and I think you can even make seeds for these things. But I just have this set up to make it easier because I will eventually redo my bees and seeds to make it more factory-like. And for the last note, besides running this all night and having this running all night, I made a dimension card. This is the RS Infinity Booster mod. And all it does is it's just like our Infinity Range booster that we made before. You make 4 of those, combine them with some nether stars and an Eye of Ender, and this makes it where you can access your storage across dimensions. Any dimension, if I'm in a different place, whatever. So if you are using refined storage and you are trying to build some stuff and trying to access your storage, make sure to grab you a dimension card. It's really not that hard. You just need those Enderium plates, and this is one of the big reasons why I did it. You will need some unobtainium, but I mean, once you have the bees, it's pretty easy to make. So while I'm here, let's go ahead and get started crafting the things that I need. So for starters, we're going to need this thermal evaporation controller, the thermal evaporation block, and we're going to need the thermal evaporation valve. So let's start with the blocks. It just takes steel into copper. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make about, I think it's about 6 stacks of these, I want to say. Let me see. I'm going to need about 7 stacks of these. And you're wondering why. It's because we're going to make this the max height. We're just going to kill it all in one fell swoop, make it easy. And we're going to just pump this all the way up. So about 7 stacks will do it. I might be bad at math, so hang tight. And then we're also going to make 2 of these thermal evaporation controllers because we're going to need 2 thermal evaporation plants. So let's go ahead and make ourselves 2 of those, which those just need these evaporation blocks, which is good. And then we're going to need 2 valves. Well, probably even more than 2 because we want to do some heat too. So let's just go ahead and say we're going going to make 8 of these. All right, and there we go. I went ahead and made me some more evaporation blocks as well. So let's get these heaters going as well. I want to get a couple of these heaters made, which they're simple enough. We're just going to need 1 heater per evaporation plant. So 2 energy tablets, 2 heaters. So because we're doing like, I want to set this up to be the best, the max and the best, we're actually going to need a couple of these advanced solar generators, which these are pretty cool. Now, if you probably use this in the early game, these are not bad little solar generators. They're nothing like the solar ones in All the Mod 6, but they're okay. They're not bad. We're going to have to make a couple of these to stick on the top. So we're going to need a total of 4 per. So we're going to need 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. So I need 32 solar generators here. We got even more math because we got to do this. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead, I'm just going to grab these recipes real quick, and then I'm just going to request it. So that way I don't have to think and do math because that's not fun. So we're going to start getting all these recipes. And now if I shove these in here into one that has room and I come over here and request it, I can say advanced solar generator. Let's click this, and I need 8 of these, right? Screw doing math. I'm just going to click this, and there's 8 of them. This is the power of pine salt, baby. Okay, that's the wrong thing. This is the power of auto crafting. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I also just want to go ahead and make some of those mechanism pipes because why not? I think it's probably smarter. So we are going to need some way to transfer the heat. Now, ultimate pipes are the universal pipes from the pipes mod will actually work, but I've already made myself, or I got the recipes for all the different kinds of ultimate. So if I just type in ultimate, you'll see that I have, well, I guess not all of them, but I have power, I have the thermodynamic conductors, which is the heat transfers, and then we have the mechanical pipes, which is liquid. So we're just going to go ahead and craft 64 of these. We're going to go ahead and craft 64 of these, which we won't need 64, but that's there. And then same thing for this. All right, now we got a stack of each. I think we're ready to go. And I'm never wrong whenever I say we're ready to go, right? I never forget extra stuff. Right? Let me explain why I chose this spot out here and what it, like the purpose of why I put it out here. First off, if we open up the map, nothing is close to me. Nothing. What does that mean? Well, I RTP'd out here. This is a complete random spot. I did the /RTP because I want to set my reactor up out here because if it blows up, I don't want it exploding on everything. One thing important to note when you are making your reactor or setting up like I'm doing to make your reactor is that you want to check the chunks and make sure that you have room for everything to fit in one chunk. So for example, let's say I make this reactor, but I make this reactor in this chunk right here, right? This little platform that I've set up. We're in the middle of 2 chunks. And let's say I don't have all of these chunk loaded and only 1 chunk loads. What ends up happening is the reactor doesn't know any better. It flips out and it explodes. So let's not do that. Okay. So I'm hitting F9 to cycle through the modes, and that's how you can take a look at the chunks. So I'm actually going to make my reactor over here in this chunk right here and in this chunk over here. And then in these back chunks over here, I'm just going to do the thermal evaporation plants. So let's start making these bad boys. So these things are relatively simple to make. They're actually 4 wide. So if I go and place these down, they look a little bit like this. They're like a giant bowl. Okay. So I think you can actually make these things like 3 high, I want to say, and it work. So if I pop out of place here, pop out of place here, and then I put on the evaporation valve and I put in a controller, this should turn on and work. Yep, there we go. As you see, it's ready to pump in some water and it's ready to make some brine. So it tells me the height of 3. Well, I want this to be much, much higher. You can also take these corners off. It doesn't have to be all the way up like this, but it does have to have a hole in the top. Think of this basically like a giant bowl, and it's just whatever the water or whatever is sitting here is going to turn into something nasty, like ugh. Anyway, we're gonna make this 18 blocks tall. So the easiest way to do this is to cap this off like this. We're gonna take our diamond wand that we have and just build it up. So let's do that. And this is 18 blocks high, but I'm gonna take and break these corners out. And in each of these corners, I'm going to put us a solar generator, the advanced solar generator. This actually heats this up even more, which is pretty cool. So 1 in each corner, and we're going to make sure that it's placing out so I can actually get some energy if I wanted to. so I can power some of these machines like the resistive heater. And now if we go all the way down here and we look at it, we see the height is 18 and the temperature is steadily rising, which is what we want. But I'm not going to be pumping on this side. I'm actually going to be pumping on this side. So for this to work, I'm actually going to be putting one of the valves right here. And that way, this is where we can pump our water in. So taking our mechanical pipes, we're going to put it all in like this. And then we're going to configure these to pull each of these. And now we should be getting a ton of water and a ton of brine. It already created 10,000 brine and it's already heating up. And then we could take one of those resistive heaters that we have right here and place that down. And then we want to take our thermodynamic conductors and place that right there. So that way, any kind of heat that this generates, it will actually, once with some power, we can actually pump this heat a whole lot more and make it a whole lot hotter. We need some kind of power. Now we could go all the way up there and grab all of that, but that's kind of annoying. So instead, I'm just gonna slap a point on it. Select our like and sub for more, and it's not outputting. So let me, oh God, I destroyed that block. I'm gonna slap the point on the side, question mark? Yep, there it goes. And now we can say what kind of heat we want here. I don't know what the maximum temperature is, but maybe we want to just do like 1,000. Oh, it actually lets me know. It says, hey, how much FE per tick here? And then it's not getting power because I don't have that selected, but now it's working. So it's pulling 1,000 FE per tick. So let's see how hot that gets this thing. I want to max this out. Obviously it's full, so the water is not actually going anywhere right now. But while this is heating up, let's go ahead and build the next one. So I am going to give this some space. And the reason being is because we will need that brine for other things. Brine is not just used to make lithium. So if I hit U here and I go through here, we can do the electrolytic separator. Brine is actually used to grab some chlorine. You can also get some sodium out of it. Sodium can be used to power a bunch of different things. I'm pretty sure sodium is also a very good coolant. Cooling down reactors and stuff like that is actually kind of nice. But for the most part, that chlorine is actually really, really helpful because it makes hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride is needed for the chemical injection chamber, and it has a couple of recipes, but it helps break down the ores. This is part of that tier 4 smeltery system that you can get if you wanted to 5 times your output of ores. So this thing's still heating up, so let's give some room. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're gonna build the second one here. So let's build it out. I also just remembered we probably need to have a way to break this one. We need to break this one and have a way to have that brine out, just like that. I don't know what's going on with the connected textures. I have no idea what's going on with that, but now I can pump that brine out. So that's good. And then here, I'm actually going to make another valve right here. So that way we can pump in the brine to here. And then now, that's not what I meant. And then now we just build up. Break off the corners. And then we're going to place the generators in each corner. And now we need a way to pump in or pump out whatever it is that we make. So for here, this will be lithium. So here we go. We take a look in here. Same thing. It needs to be heated up a little bit more, but it's working. So let's go ahead and set up this heater. All right, here we go. So brine is actually a liquid. It's not quite the hottest, so we could probably get away with doing 1.5K FE. And I think that might heat it up enough, maybe. We'll see. We do want a way to store some of this brine. We don't want to use all of the brine into here, but it's okay for us to have some of this right now. So what we're going to do is just going to make a chemical tank. Brine is actually a liquid.
Brine is actually a liquid.
So we're going to take a chemical tank here. So that way we can just make these and line these up like this. And then we can take this ultimate mechanical pipe and pull it all the way across here. I believe, oh, I realize this is not a liquid tank, right? So it's not going to do anything right here because brine is a liquid, right?
Brine is actually a liquid.
Yep, it's a liquid. And now we're just making a ton of lithium. Cool. All right, 1.5K did it. So we'll have to do the same for over here, but I think this one's actually not doing it. Let's do 3,000. So we're going to need some ultimate fluid tanks for this. Now we can actually make a dynamic tank, and there's actually much better tanks out there than the ultimate fluid tank. But for now, we could just take a couple of these. Now the lithium is liquid lithium right now. So because of that, liquid lithium we can actually store if we wanted to. So we're actually going to need to make another rotary condensator. I struggled so hard to say this word. Before we do that, let's go ahead and get these ultimate fluid tanks here. And, you know, I actually kind of like these because you can stack these up. They're really cool. If I go over here, I can just stack these on top of each other like this. And then you're supposed to be able to connect them, but I think you need the configurator for that. Maybe. Let's see if this works. I kind of want to make this cooler looking. Okay, that's a little bit better. See, all of these connect now and they can all store their own kind of thing, which I'm okay with this storing brine for right now because we could use that later again to turn into hydrogen chloride. So I'm okay with it having a little bit of a storage up on the side. Let's make that rotary condensator here. God, that's such a hard word to say. All right, there we go. Rotary condensator. So like I said, we're essentially just trying to turn it into lithium. Lithium, if we put it into a chemical crystallizer, it will actually turn into lithium dust, which is cool. But we need lithium first, which is, again, the decondensating thing from liquid to normal lithium. So we could do that right here if we wanted to. So this will need power. So I'm going to place this right here. We're going to grab out these universal cables and pull that over because that's going to give us some power here. And then we should be able to take our ultimate mechanical pipe, set this to pull, and it should give us what we need. So if we click this toggle operation button, it should change liquid lithium into lithium, which it is. Sweet. We do need some upgrades for this, but that's easy enough to make. Just pop this open. Again, I have literally everything that I need for an upgrade right here. Just click in here, just click in, type in 8. It'll craft it. Now we can just upgrade this really fast. And now we have a ton of lithium because it's going to be the same thing here, the exact same thing, because we're going to store a ton. Like we're going to get a bunch of liquid lithium here. Like we're actually storing and getting more than we're going to need. We're going to go ahead and set up a little place over here for the extra, just in case. And because lithium is now a gas or a chemical, we can actually set it up as storage. What we can do is we can make it look all cool and stuff over here. We can take some gas pipes here, which honestly, I just kind of want to work with Mekanism because this is so cool. We'll just use gas pipes. And we want to make sure we set this config correctly to gases and make sure we output on the front here. And then we should output here if we shift right click on this one. And then we need to set, nope, we don't have to set anything because we have this as a gas. From here, I actually want to put some more gas pipes. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up another one of those entangloporters, which I still have 3 left over from making them the other day. So bam. So now we're going to change this one to lithium. So that should input in and we can output here like this. And this should be getting lithium. We can always make sure we got input right here for gases, so that works. And this is great. So now we have all of these different things, and now we can actually take and make that lithium dust with the chemical crystallizer. So do I necessarily want to bring this into a entangloporter? It doesn't really use anything, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So we don't even have to have this quantum entangloporter here. So we can just leave it here just in case we do need it eventually. And let's get this set up to create us some lithium dust. So we need a chemical crystallizer. Let's see, I think we have everything to make this because it's just some fluorite and some refined obsidian. That's easy enough. And then this is already getting power right here. So we can place this down right here and then we can set this to be an output right here. Oh, and now the lithium's in here and it should be, once we get some power and stuff in here, it should be making us some crystals. So we need power. So we're just gonna boop, 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 boop. And there we go, enough power. This one can take the same 2 upgrades, so let me make those real fast.
Manage waypoints. Narrator, off.
And now that it's upgraded, it should be perfectly fine with power and everything. The only thing we need now is a way to output this lithium dust into our system. So just to save face here, I'm gonna be honest with you, let's just make an ender chest because I don't want another thing out here, another wall for this, you know, that's gonna take too much. And now we just need an item pipe here, and it should output it into here. Let's go ahead and give it an ultimate pipe upgrade to make it a little bit faster. And somebody told me you can do an ender pearl. I think a couple of people told me this, but you can right-click it with shift right-click it with an ender pearl. What? That's amazing. That's dope. I didn't know you could do that. Oh, that's pretty cool. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if I want to break this or not. I kind of want to break this. Yeah, I'm going to break this. And the reason why I'm going to break this is I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to come over here and I want to go gases. I want to output on the bottom and click auto eject. Make sure that it's set to lithium. And then that way, what I can do here is I don't want it to input to this anymore. I'm not going to need lithium anywhere else. So I guess I should have decided not to use this to begin with. So I'm just letting you guys know now. You can just straight pump it in here. And so whenever it's full or whatever, it'll back up into these tanks over here instead of backing up into this. This, I have no way to see what's in here. Like I have no clue what's inside of it, because it's just a teleporter kind of thing, but the stuff does get stored inside of it. We also want to go ahead and make another one of these chemical crystallizers so we can up our production of lithium. So made me a couple of more. Set this one right here to output for the time being for gases, and there's nothing in there. So apparently I made this one empty. Good. So now we could just connect it like this. And that should get us that lithium for each of these. And then we can connect the power to each of them. And then same thing here. Item pipes. Oh, that's gas pipes. What are these? Is there a color difference between the gas pipes and the item pipes? I can't tell because I'm colorblind. And of course, we want to put upgrades in both of these. And now we have a bunch of lithium coming through. That's cool. So we have our little factory set up over here. Not too bad, not too shabby. So now I want to come over here and I want to make sure that I add that lithium dust into this importer right here, just because this is where I have my importer set up. So that way it goes directly into my system. So if I come up here, I can just type in lithium and there we go. We have 380. Sweet. So heading back to our mechanism factory, let's go ahead and make us a massive battery. Nothing too crazy, I guess, but a decently sized battery. First off, we're going to need some of these induction casings. We're going to need these energy tablets as well. And it looks like we're going to want to ask for these. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab these recipes, and we're going to need induction cells and induction providers. I'll explain this when we build it. So I don't know how many of these casings that I need. I'm just going to go ahead and get a stack and see how that goes. It's currently smelting them and stuff, but let's see. I think a stack will go decently far. And then I also want to craft the, let's just type in induction and we should be able to see everything here now. I want to craft a port, so we need one in and one out. So we're going to need two of these ports. You're going to need one for the input, so we can input power into it, say from our reactor that we build, and then we need one out so we can use it. So let's go ahead and make two of these ports. So the basic induction cell and the basic induction provider is kind of important. So the induction provider provides power. It basically says how fast do you want your induction cell or your power cell, whatever you want to call it, to put out power. So how much do you want to pull from this at the same time? So with the basic induction provider, it pulls 102,000 FE per tick, right? The induction cell says how much do you want to store? So we have the basic induction cell and it stores 3.2 giga FE. I can't get over that. It's billion or giga FE, either one. So you can actually upgrade these too. So let's see how much we can make here. Let's see, ultimate induction provider. Let's just get all the recipes going. And now I believe we have all of them, even though I already have the basic ones in here. I made them twice. Let's see if we can make any of these. I want to see if I can make a higher tier than the basic one. So the basic one just takes 4 lithium dust, a basic energy cube, and 4 of these basic control circuits. So we should have a bunch of lithium dust already made. And the next upgrade goes to the advanced induction cell, goes 25 billion FE, which is actually kind of insane. But it takes 4 of those basic induction cells to make one of these. So let me just request one and see if we can make it. And then we want to make one of the advanced induction providers, which I actually didn't even get the recipe for. So let me grab that. All right, so we did make an advanced induction cell, and let's make that advanced induction provider. And there it is. So the question now is, do we want more? Can we make more? I'm going to stick these 2 back in here and let's see if we can get, I think I'm okay with the provider. Let's see if we can get an ultimate induction cell. Let's see if it'll let me ask for one. Ah, it lets me craft it. It takes 240 of these. I think I can craft it. It's going to take a while because it's got to craft a bunch of these energy tablets and that takes a little bit. Oh, and it's got a schedule and it's got to process like 600 plus iron into infused alloys. There we have it. We have an ultimate induction cell. Now, I kind of want to actually see if I can make the ultimate induction provider. We're almost there. We're just missing a little bit more lithium dust. It's not too far off. So let's go take and build this in the basement. Actually, before we go build this in the basement, we got to do one more thing. Well, we don't actually have to have one more thing, but we're going to make something called structural glass. Now, you don't have to have these. This is actually just something I want to make. I want to make it because it looks better. You can use the induction casings over it and make it look all right, but I kind of like the structural glass. So I said we were going to make a huge place, but I'm going to be honest with you. We actually only, like, because I made the ultimate induction cell and the advanced induction provider, it's not, so like we can make this entire thing our induction cell if we wanted to, like the entire thing, if we really, really wanted to. And what we could do is we can make this. This is going to be kind of overkill because like I only have 2 blocks and we're going to need more of these because I'm doing this like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all something before I build it out like that. So realistically, you don't need all this space, right? You don't need this. I'm going to build this because eventually we'll make it bigger, but you could just do a basic 3 section like this. We build this out here, go around. I'm going to replace this with glass. And then cap it off and then leave us a little hole in the middle. And then in that little middle part right there, we can do an advanced induction provider, and then we can do that ultimate induction cell. And then from here, we put the glass in the front and we go ahead and put ourselves a port on the side. And we're also going to need to put a porter on the other side, like the basic itty bitty tiny thing, right? So if we right click this, it's done. It can store 1.6 trillion FE, like just because of that ultimate induction cell inside of there. So we could, in theory, come over here and you use your configurator on the side here and it says, hey, do I want to output or input? So let's say if that's output and this is going to be input. So we could, if we wanted to store our stuff, we could take and put a point here and then it would start storing whatever energy that we created. Only problem with this is that it'd be dangerous to try and fill this sucker up because it's going to pull everything that it most possibly can pull from our reactors upstairs, right? This is not really going to fill up with our reactors that we have. It's not going to fill up fast enough. It's just going to drain everything. And if we do bypass limit, it's going to just go as fast as it possibly can, our output. So right now it's inputting at 819,000 FE per tick, and it's going to keep pulling. So while we definitely don't need this thing, I mean, it's already up to 1.26 giga FE. We don't necessarily need all of this energy in here. We don't actually have to have it. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to take our fission reactor that we make in the next episode and plug it into this, and it'll produce way more than enough power. So because of that, I'm going to put a plug right here and make sure that plug is connected to like and sub for more smiley face. So that way, if we need the system in general, we can do that. What I was saying about this isn't kind of important to talk about is that you can make this any size you want. I've made this, obviously a 3x4 right here to make this, but you can make it a giant cube if you wanted to, like a massive cube if you wanted to. And that makes it where every single one of the induction cells that you put in there adds to the total power. So it's additive. So basically every time you add an induction cell, it adds that power of whatever induction cell. You don't always have to use ultimate. You can use any mixture of the induction cells that you want to. So you can make this a multi-block and make it huge if you wanted to, and just have it like as big as you want it to. Well, I think the tallest structure is like 18. So let me say that. I think it's like 18 by 18 by 18, I think it is. And then you can plug in a bunch of these induction providers and everything. So that way you can store a ton of energy. You're like, what do you even need a ton of energy for, bro? We've been using things that only use like 600. Well, if you want to make the antimatter or antimatter pellets, you need to make antimatter. Well, how do you make antimatter? You need a supercritical phase shifter, and you need 400 million FE per tick to process polonium into antimatter. The more energy that you have, the more power that you produce, the faster that it processes. So at 400 million FE, it'll produce 1 millibucket per tick. What do you need 1 millibucket for? Well, you can take and craft some of these things, but that's kind of not really useful. You're going to need basically 1,000 times that to make 1 antimatter pellet, which is needed in several of the recipes that you need to make the Altamod Star. Wow, this little itty bitty baby 1.6 trillion FE is kind of cool. we're going to need a lot more power. And that means we're going to need to make a fission reactor and a turbine to go with it. So what this means is this is going to be it for this episode. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I made this whole thing a little bit easier for you guys so you can understand how to do this yourself. That's one of my biggest goals in making these mod pack videos and stuff, is because I want to teach people the mod packs. I don't want people to feel overwhelmed when you're playing these things. I want it to be so that you get excited to do these things. And pretty much most of the stuff in mod packs is just learning a little bit, knowing a little bit, and then doing it yourself in your own creative way. So if you do enjoy this, make sure you hit that like, subscribe. We're closing in on that 1,000 mark. Also, I wanted to know, for those who have been hanging around and you haven't checked out my stream, I do stream on Twitch. I've been streaming Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday every week. So whatever time that you're around, if you want to come hang out with me on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, come check me out. Twitch.tv/AlfredGG. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next episode, bye!